Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. Polina here, talking to you about February 2024. So we are now just on the 21st of Jan, and hope everything's fine, everything's good. So what can I say we need to be really aware of? So firstly, the sun has a precession of planets behind it. That means it's gonna put a lot of stress and pressure on some people. On some people, and for some reason, I feel some people are going to be really ready for something that is not maybe really available to them yet. In certain situations, there's going to be a lot of whimsical stuff happening. There's going to be a lot of altruism. There's going to be a lot of pleasure. There's going to be seeking of things. There's going to be finding. There's going to be needs, and there's going to be niche experiences. There's going to be also a lot of craftiness and a lot of lying or letting go of things that are not for you. So this is a little bit of a complicated time, but the sun is so bold and strong in Aquarius. We are heading towards Saturn and Pisces, which will be met by the sun by the end of the month. Why this is very important, you guys. So this is a build-up to the truth telling. This is a build-up to a really big reveal and a really big resonance. So not everybody can afford that. Not everybody can do it. Not every single person is prepared or after it, you know. So not each one of us can handle it. There's stress, there's pressure, there is financial debts, there is miracles as well, and there's craftiness that's needed for this kind of alignment as the sun goes towards Saturn, and also as Mercury crosses Saturn. It is going to be very, very hard for us to be able to put it all together unless we really know what is going on. We need to know what we're talking about. We need to know what we're bringing. We need to realize what we're worth. We need to understand what power we do and do not hold. We have to understand who we are in the story or the fairy tale that we're making. And we also have to connect to the right people, organizations, and such, also immigrations, of course, doing the right thing, being honest, being humble, presenting paperwork, presenting ideas, being very formal, and inevitably being potentially destroyed or potentially challenged or claimed or acclaimed by this particular sign. So Saturn and Pisces is very, very, very hard to let go of things, leave it alone. So the whole thing basically here is to be able to be also rebellious and strong and charismatic, and in some cases incredibly altruistic, optimistic, or very, very wise. But yet again, we are still heading into Saturn land. So understand, even if this time is wild, even if Aquarius is offering us a lot of ups and downs and a lot of hullabaloo, a lot of messages, a lot of talking, a lot of ideas, a lot of sexuality, a lot of freedoms, as Mars is going to be next to Venus. We're going to be projected into a very, very big and beautiful world. In some situations, it's like you are launched into the deep end and you don't know how to swim yet, but here you are trying, or here you are and you're still going to make it, because probably people are offering you exactly what you want or exactly what you needed all this time, being launched into a new career, being part of a new partnership, being completely transcended or offended also, for example, being wiped out of a story, wiped out of a group, no longer having the innocence or no longer having the prestige. For example, nobody will buy from you now, like this shop is closed, things like that. It's a very, very high and mighty energy. It's about aggression and big deals, and maybe very big words might be spoken. So be careful and be aware. It could get really angry and edgy. Like, for example, people might say, well, who needs you? Or like, well, that's not my idea of fun, or la 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 la. So there is like really bitey and epic stuff that could be happening during this part of the year, and not a lot of people really know how to put it all together or how to even deal with their nervous system as we are going through the sign of the nervous system and the sign of sequencing, which is Aquarius, and it is going to be very hard and very hopeful for us all to reach that mark. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about competitiveness, about bartering, about stock market, about marks, about trying to get ready for something great, about impulse. I'm going to also tell you a little bit about the journey and the journeyman, and about like how much time do we really have for all of this. a lot of it is not for free. A lot of these friendships are fake. A lot of these gurus are not real gurus. A lot of these time lapses, a lot of these ideas, a lot of these products, a lot of these locations, a lot of this language is fake. A lot of it is fake, and a lot of it is for the first and the last time. Like, this is the first and the last time you get to do this. And for a lot of us people, it's actually not really the problem. The problem is that we've gone so far, we've come out the other end, and now, after these burrows that Rabbit has asked us to travel through, we've come to the end, you guys. And now a lot of people don't have the same emotions, they don't have the same sentiments. Even if you've been waiting for this chance your whole life, you might crack under pressure, you might fail or fall. Also, a lot of people, even going to their wedding, might say, actually, I don't need this, I don't want to get married at all. So that's the thing, a lot of us don't really know how to put this stuff together. There is a lot of random and hectic activity because there's a precession behind the sun, some things we don't know about and we do not see. So for example, lying, cheating, stealing, making friends under the surface, having misguided attention, having several partners at once, for example, very likely during this time. Or doing things behind each other's backs. Also, hidden paperwork, hidden small print, fine print. Things have already been decided in many cases, but they look like they're not decided. Like, for example, there's nothing worse than going to a job interview knowing in your hearts of hearts that you won't get the job probably, but really hoping that you would, and then the person not calling you back, and then you thinking that they haven't yet made up their mind, but oh yes, they did. So this is kind of one of those things. It's one of those thinking patterns that also has to stop. Don't rely on anybody. Don't relax and just let somebody carry you, because it is foolish. Much of this doesn't actually have to be. Much of these communities, much of these people, personalities speak. Much of this stuff is actually not really for you. And though they are peaks, and though people may be very well respected and regarded during this time, in certain situations, people are seen as the best or as the clearest leader of the group, or the best in show, or the clearest leader, I suppose, or the clearest force. I would say force in the picture. Not many people maybe will want that after. So this is only like a small claim. I mean, a lot of this is just a small claim. Much of this is not really about being enthusiastic and keeping the fires going forever. Also, little flings, first time and last time, like making love with somebody just once and then just giving it all away, doing things as if for no reason, flamboyance, and also sadness. There is a lot of sadness I'm feeling in people today because they don't really know if it's real or not, if they've claimed the right place in the world or not, if they're really doing the right thing, if they're really ready for it. So, how to explain this? There is a progression of peaks throughout every single year. So here we are at this sort of cusp between Rabbit and Dragon Year. Officially, apparently, it's the 8th of February, I think, that the Dragon Year actually starts, or the 10th or something like that. So basically, we have a very, very strong feeling of miracles. We're already starting to speak of the stories that really matter to us. We're starting to cleanse our hearts and our souls. We're trying to make people see us. We're trying to portray ourselves as better than we are. Sometimes we're wanting all the best to be shown. We're wanting to wear the best clothes we've got. We're wanting to, share our soul, with another person, or be really, really kind to ourselves or to other people. So it's a very, very epic and kind of a needy time. And it's actually kind of gross. It's kind of ugly for us all. So in a sense, what I'm saying is that a lot of it is overdue. A lot of it is old-fashioned. A lot of it is reliving the past. A lot of it is last minute. Not everything is done perfectly. And on the other side, we do have the very relatable sign of Aquarius saying, hey, if you want the mic or you want to sing, you can. Even though nobody's hearing you, you can. Take the microphone. But don't make that feeling, that like people are trying to start things up. People are looking forward to something different in their life. There are certain people, that's where the trap is during this time. There's certain people that are emotional about what they're doing and who they are in the story, and they want it to be exactly as they imagine it. There's a lot of idealism, there's a lot of storytelling, there's a lot of shock value, there's also a lot of cynicism. So I would definitely respect things for what they are, respect people for who they are, like seeing the real worth of a dollar, like a real worth of a day, like a real worth of a life. You have to really understand how other people are planning their lives too. So the worst case scenario is people walking out there and trying to be a boss of something that they don't need to be a boss of. And also, the other worst case scenario is being a zombie and having absolutely no personality and no power. So, like, the idea basically is to be really gentle and start thinking and feeling as to what the other person wants, who is actually with you in the story, what is the actual tribe that you're in, what kind of feelings do you really have, what kind of storyline are you actually filling out. Are you the king, or are you indeed the fool in a story, or are you a bit of both? Are you a relevant person here? So, for example, you are usually hosting people or paying for everybody. Did you see that? Did you need that? So sometimes it is not necessarily about endings, but see, we do have Saturn and Pluto, and between these two signs, the Sun will be progressing. So, in a sense, these two sides are going to try and make you see or feel the actual truth. They are not mean signs. You know, a lot of astrologers say really horrible things about Pluto and Saturn. I'm not going to say anything bad about them. I'm just going to say that this is a test of willpower, test of courage, test of what you're really worth, test of if you can last the game. It's kind of like about being a fighter in the ring, and it's to a degree about whether or not you can handle or take on that opponent, and if there is any opponent at all, or if you should just sit it out. I'm not telling you to sit it out, I'm not telling you to just forgive and forget, but let's see what are the different dimensions of this particular month and how it can help you. This is not the peak. Aquarius is the second to last sign. This is not about being new. This is not about scrambling for something. It's like, I haven't yet been famous. I want to be famous now. Or, like, for example, I haven't yet made that money. I gotta go and try. Or I haven't met anybody that I like. I'm gonna go try. Not that many people really need that, which they might be fighting tooth and claw for. So if you are a fighter, if you're naturally a fighter, or if you know somebody like a best friend or something who's fighting for their life or fighting for a place under the sun, give it a wait. This is not a fighting sign, even though we do have Mars going into it, and I can see a lot of pressure and I feel a lot of passion and a lot of demise and a lot of saving of people, very loud and big words and ideas surfacing during this time, and also the next month. These are sleepy times. You know, so the main aspect here is the sun. The sun is the dominant planet, well, the dominant body in astrology. So that's the one that we go through. Well, this is the one that we go by. The sun is the center, you know, of our little world. And we have to somehow understand what the sun is doing primarily. So we're going for Aquarius and we're going into Pisces, the last two signs. It is not about the biggest event in your life. It is not about playing the fool, playing the king. It doesn't need to be a very big adventure. It's about just drawing the line sometimes and recognizing things. It's about recognition. So in terms of a lifespan, imagine Aquarius being an old person that's already done everything. They've retired already. Maybe even several times, and they're just like sitting there with a cup of tea. You know, they're enjoying their biscuits. You know, they're petting their cat and they're talking about their past. In a sense, it's not just about this. It's about remembering and also highlighting what was the worst sometimes, and hopefully what was the best or what was the better. So it's really nice to go through memory lane, especially as we are approaching Saturn, which is a sign of time. It's about memory lane, understanding what it was all worth, understanding what you did it all for. Also, really good to still keep with the concepts that I shared with you in the January video. So it's about having a backbone to your life. It's about having sustainable, real, true, hearty results. It's about having a nice, simple give and take in your world. It's about having enough. It's about having all the good things come back to you. It's about having a self-irrigating reality. It's about having a beautiful garden of life. It's about having a neutral, simple step where you don't have to try so hard. You don't have to call so many people for attention or your help. You don't have to be anybody for anybody. You can just enjoy this world. And the worst case scenario that I'm also seeing for certain people that cannot understand how reality works is scrambling, last minute sales, last minute results. Come on, let's go. Let's get out of this. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of there. Let's make this happen. Let's make this. Hyper altruistic people also can come up. Hyper connected people can come up. People that want to speed up time. People that want to finally have their say. People that want to take that concept that they had last few years and try to live it all over again. And also in certain situations, there are not many stories. You can enter or you can end, so there's a mess. If you don't know it, that we're here, you guys. We've landed. Okay, this is land. We've landed. And if you are scrambling, if you're fighting, if you're still trying to forgive somebody, if you're still trying to be polite to somebody, if you don't know, if you're between a rock and a hard place, you have a lot of stress and anxiety, something's done wrong. So I would urge you to start over, unpicking that reality, what's inside, what's this? It's kind of like, if you can imagine, you've sewn your life together and it's sewn badly, so you have to unpick it. Also, the nakshatra, the Vedic astrological nakshatra, for the one who needs 100 healers or the one who needs 1,000 healers, lands in Aquarius. So what does this tell you? Illnesses. Why? Because this is a nervous system. We're going through the nervous system, we're going through the inner psyche, and we're going through culture, we're going through fashion. Sometimes we're going through creme de la creme here. Things that are more respectful, things that are more kind of known about, like the songs that everybody knows. Like the business ideas that are the most prolific or the most compassionate, or the thinking patterns that are the most understood. It's like Psyche, it's about circulating friends, it's about circulating frequencies, it's about getting along. It's about having a fine life. Like Aquarius is not about pushing, because it cannot push anymore. It's almost like during that time, the body kind of says goodbye. The body goes its own way, and the nervous system has to come down to a nice neutral. So it's just about understanding your inner impulses. It's about understanding your future, maybe your child's future as well, to a degree, or society's future, I don't know. The ecosystem, beautiful. It's, understanding the arts, like if you're in any kind of field, if you're in fashion, it's about understanding. So it's like about knowing the different trends, about understanding the lingo, how other people talk. It's about trends. It's about the psyche. It's about knowing how a business works. It's about systems. It's about culture. It's about controlling. No, not so much. It's about understanding, recognizing what people are up to. The marketplace, that's how it is. If you wanted to, you could get away. I would definitely pay more attention to your inner and outer health. So as I said earlier, it's the sign of 100 or 1,000 healers. This is the time when we need to see ourselves and speak better of ourselves. The ego has to grow for some people. And last month's moon, landing on the 25th of January, the Leo full moon, was definitely about giving yourself that pedestal and feeling good and hearty about you. And in a sense, if you don't feel that, if you don't feel stable or stabilized in your body, if you don't feel any respect for what you've done, if you feel sulky, if you feel kind of neutral about your life, there is need to really feel. And in a sense, yeah, for sure, some people just have to express themselves through a personality. Maybe it's even put on, but at least, it's humble and it gets them going, it gets them places. In certain cases, it's about how you dress and how you speak and how you come across. And maybe the rabbit year has really taught you a lot about that, because it was a very social year. And to some degree, for other people, it's just about understanding. And then we have to unpick a lot. Now, if you are with me, I'm going to take you aside here from mainstream psychology, and we're going to go into my little world. This is my little world. We are coming upon the last sign of Pisces, the death sign. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry. Okay, it's not the death sign. It's parting worlds. It's the world between worlds. Pisces. Before the beginning of Aries, Pisces is no man's world. Between Aquarius and Aries. Pisces is also clad with Neptune, Hygeia, and Saturn. Yes. It is a very, very big time. It's a very, very strong feeling of worth and worthiness. It's a very, very deep maybe primitive connection to the earth that you would need to be able to go through the next window of your life. In certain cases, in certain parts of the world, it is hard to be here. We are talking prices. We are also talking about housing prices in the world. I've had a couple of people call me today about, paying incredible amount for just their abode in America and Canada, USA and Canada. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's about structure. It's about friendships, and it's also kind of to a degree about faith and a certain whim, a certain psychology. And it is also about the crisis that we're in, as a people. I feel that a lot of people are really struggling these days. And it's just about, how to forgive and forget and move on. And yes, definitely there could be a religious or spiritual message that would probably be more appropriate for you in these times. It is nice to see a guru or a rabbi or something like that, or a priest. And for some others, it's just about staying strong and understanding things and recognizing structure, recognizing method, recognizing the push and pull of life's choices, also understanding where they don't have anything, where they thought they had the world, realizing where they've been putting their involvement, where they've been investing that wasn't anything. And it is heavy, but if you've prepared yourself since January, if you took yourself a little bit more, not necessarily seriously, but wholesomely, if you realized your structure and the structure of your life, if you also realize the barriers that you have between you and success, or you and your friendships, if you really wanted to put yourself together, and really sculpt yourself together, maybe this would mean you'd have to have a lot of time on your own. Maybe it's really, really good to come back to the drawing board. It is absolutely okay to choose a time not to be visible. It is absolutely fine, even in the middle of this flurry and this exhibitionism, which Aquarius will definitely represent, and all of this ego, all this power, all of this fluff. There's going to have to be some kind of dream that matters most. Maybe it is about your sanity. Maybe it's about your safety. Maybe it's about your health. Maybe it's about your family or your home. Maybe it's about your cultural, spiritual, or religious idea. That's also very good because Saturn is in Pisces. And we have to somehow close things down or close things over. They just won't. For example, this is not going to give you anything. That is not going to be anything. This is not going to grow. If you know that something is not going to go, if you understand that no matter how much wishful thinking power and passion you put into something or somebody, is just not going to, it's not going to, okay? For example, your love is no longer, or for example, your body cannot support this much weight, or for example, the money that you make at this job is just not gonna, So it's just really, truly about keeping safe and compassionate to everybody involved, which is hard to do for this particular season for many people. It is just about having a certain type of also extreme, because there is a reality change coming, and for certain people they will not be possible or probable in certain situations, and they're already making way, and it's not going to help. So making ends meet, making a relationship work, making a partnership still stand its ground, understanding what your children are up to, understanding what they're learning, where they're going to be later in their life. So this is about community planning. It's about community sharing. It's definitely about time, and it's about respect, and it's also about other adventures, because it is about going abroad for some. Though to me, it's also kind of about quantic intuition, and also saying the things that have already kind of been said inside you. It's just you didn't know how to challenge yourself with them yet. And this is the hardest truth I've got today. Understanding that your hints, that your intuition or your inner voice was right the whole time, and now it's come to an end. So for example, you were told to leave and you didn't believe it, and now it's definitely here. Some people might be hitting rock bottom as Pisces rolls over. Some people have to understand that they don't have any friends, somewhere, or certain people will have to get rid of quite a lot of garbage that they've been storing, or a lot of things they've been speaking, So this is just about a certain type of cleansing, and it's also about having a certain after effect of recognizing things for probably an incredibly long time, and then them, be it good or bad, having to come to a real sense of realness and reality after this month ends. So it's not just about preparing yourself for anything rock hard or anything potentially cold or disheartening. It's just about knowing that you probably also knew something already, and now it's just starting to pull itself out of that cocoon or out of those noises that you've been covering your intuition with. And you now see and you can tell the whole story back to front, which once was an illusion. And it's really difficult. So when you understand you've been participating in an illusionary marriage, for example, or if you understand you've been an illusionary person in a story, or something didn't come to fruit, somebody didn't happen in your life, or nobody cared about you doing something, or you didn't understand, like, you didn't understand, like things kind of got fuzzled and weird, how to get good at things and how to make sure you feel faith and safety in your life, especially if you've had something very intense happen. For example, it could have been an overdose, it could have been a car accident, it could have been love with the wrong type of person, it could be investment of time and money or attention into something that didn't fruit. But in the better parts, they could also be something great. Maybe these premonitions will come. They probably would have come as early as December for some people. Like, I got it before anybody got it. It's like, for example, I bought this coin before anybody even knew it existed, and look at me now. you know it could be like I had the best kept secrets. This time is perfect for secrecy, but good type of secrecy. For example, I didn't tell anybody about this amazing kundalini practice I had until like it just started to surface in my head, and I recognized I've been a kundalini master this whole time. Like, for example, or there could be something like, I never told me or anybody how amazing I was at something, or how good I got at something that I didn't even know that I was practicing. Now, this is amazing. This is really, really great. For example, you have a secret breath work practice. You don't have to sit down and do the Hoff method or anything like that. You've already done it because your body naturally started to breathe this way, or you've trained yourself to do it without yourself knowing it. People do things under the cover. For example, OCD is an interesting example. People that count numbers, that's actually a sign of genius. If you're really good at numbers and you count everything before it happens, it's an interesting time to surface these very interesting metaphysical gifts. Maybe you have been burdened by something in your life, maybe since birth, or you've been one of those people that have been really, really hard to understand or even question about their life. Maybe you're really slippery. And in a sense, February is going to show you where you've actually had a core that nobody else could see. Maybe you've gotten really good at something in time. Maybe you know how to make a person dream something that you're also dreaming. Maybe you really, really know how to talk to somebody. Maybe you're really good at arguments. Maybe you always win arguments. Or maybe you have an interesting way that you connect to the world. It's a weird thing. It's like, people that like sit there at the desk and they tap their fingers on the desk and they make different rhythms with their fingers. People hate that stuff, but actually that's also a sign of genius. So you might have like an OCD part of you, or a way that your body has learned about life. We have a very interesting idea or a very interesting practice that nobody else knows about, a very interesting internal feeling or an internalized part of you that is not going to maybe surface today, but at the end of the month it might. So just about recognizing also how your mastery is woven into you, and it's not so obvious. Some people are beautiful, some people are great speakers, some people are great writers, some people are very smart. Some people are very good with money, or some people are very good with time, some people are very efficient, some people are very loud. And then there's you. Some people have a completely different skill or talent that they might not know about until the end of the month. So it could be the hidden element that we don't know about, that we don't know exists, that could eventually come to the surface only for some of us. And in a sense, it is about hidden things, as I said before, with the stellium traveling after the sun. It's about hidden things, hidden agenda, wishful thinking, planning that we don't know about yet, or unconscious plans. And sometimes they might come right as the sun hits Saturn. So, in certain situations, you might go from, for example, a sketch to a painting or like a drawing to the final outcome at the end of March, or maybe even at the end of Aries, like somewhere in April. So, in a sense, it's a progression. We see some holy people during these times. We see holy seeds. We have holy work with the Saturn and Pisces. We definitely have a very big upbringing. We have a very, very deep, maybe also promiscuous or angry or cause and effect kind of side coming through for some people. We have a deep regret for others. There's a lot of information and a lot of conversation that is going to be needed in the process of all of this to try and sculpt the best beginning possible for the month of March. Some people have to go through a lot of ideologies and pain and mistakes and heartache and past losses and past predispositions to reach that little point. This is the beginning, but it's not going to begin until later on in the year. So that's the thing, it's just about a certain kind of unconscious, almost like unveiling of a potential. It's about an idea or even a feeling that comes before the idea fully surfaces. So it's a very, very religious time for some people. It's perfect to offer some of this time to sacred texts or books or writing. It's very, very good for storytelling. It's very amazing for past life memories. It's super good for ancestral work, for tribalism. It's also very, very good for having that conversation that nobody has had with you yet. It's a perfect time to be seen for something that you were not ever seen for. And it's also very interesting to find lost things. For example, it could be money gone missing, it could be black magic, it could be finding out who your father is, it could be about time you realize that you know what you know and you are who you are. It's very interesting to finally come to terms with a certain ancestral balance, being in a certain cause and effect, realizing that you've graduated, understanding that you no longer want something that you wanted before, and trying to help yourself get real, because Saturn, even if it's in Pisces, it's about getting real. And inevitably going on from this point on, as we end this year with Pisces, definitely going into March, from this point on, in a very nice, serene, healthy, mature, and maybe slightly primitive step. Not to be afraid of a little bit of primitivism, because we are in a dragon year, and the dragon year also has a wood element, and being a little bit more special and spicy later. So leave the special spices for the last minute. You don't have to dress it up so much. You don't have to talk about this so much. You don't have to become vulgar to be heard. You don't have to be extra big to be noticed. It's just about a spiciness eventually catching up with you. And I understand that we are living in a very spicy kind of world. It's so boring now, like all these TikToks and Reels and everything like that. So we just need to somehow be kind and cultured and noticeable, just maybe for ourselves and our loved ones. So we're still trying to make it matter. We're still trying to make it grow. For some people, this is not the month to be here and now forevermore. It's just about making it a very nice and bountiful life, stepping back from this painting. It's like being in a gallery. Aquarius is always about galleries. Stepping back from this painting and saying, oh, how nice. And then inevitably allowing things to be last season's news, letting things go, letting things be part of the past, and letting things be over. And also not having to be known, for a select few people, not having to live in the middle of the city anymore, not having to be part of vulgar conversations, not having to yell and scream to get energy or time from people, not having to be so open about things, not having to be so available. In certain cases, it is about celibacy. In certain cases, it is about time spent just for you. And some things it's about retaining that and keeping it for yourself. It could be money, it could be time, it could be energy, it could be ideas, not sharing too many things, and giving it away if it doesn't work, which is sometimes hard and could be a lot of trouble. So, yeah. Anyway, functionality will set you free as we are going to a Saturnian month, well, Saturn based month of March. Functionality, and as we build it up to Aries, the beginning of the year on 21st of March, which is the equinox point, as we're building up to Chiron North Node conjunction, okay, with Eris and Eros there as well, as we're building to this very, very strong, slightly peculiar, and for some people quite depressing ending and very, very strong beginning, we need to be really grateful for who we are and what we've come to be and still have respect, you guys. I'll be talking about this more in March, but we have to still have respect, retain respect and purity, and not feel so like far gone in certain cases, not to feel faithless, to still keep going with our family and friends and our loved ones, still having the time of our lives, still enjoying our soul's purpose or our soul's journey without having to go into escalations and then having to be somebody. You guys, this is going to be such a cruel ending and a big beginning for some people, for certain people. For certain people, it's going to be a very big, juicy restructuring, and for certain other people, it's just going to be an aid to what you already have. So as we go into this North Node conjunct Chiron in Aries, eventually in April, so March, we'll go into Aries. It is going to be such a big time. So it's about you, your purpose, your real true ego, or your real true identity, or your true feelings, and then also the emotions that it takes to really craft something, because Chiron is also the sign of the expert and North Node is the point, right? Craft a bridge between now and forevermore. It's about legacies, it's about time, it's about quality things. So if we really think about this February in retrospect, if we think we're going into this very freaking deep, sensitive, and very powerful time of North Node Chiron conjunct in Aries, it is going to be a very sore ending, maybe for some people, if they're up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. So we have to somehow find a smooth way, like a smooth, sensitive way of dealing with Aquarian time, so that Pisces time is large and abundant, like the ocean, like large and caring and careful. And then as we walk eventually into March, things are maybe addictive, or things are noisy, or things are powerful, things are potent, things are special, things are very spicy, but they have a meaning and they have a culture behind them. And they can make you stronger and they can spice up your life in just the right way. And that when March is over, we're going to April, yeah, you are not doing things that you shouldn't do. You're not making friends you shouldn't have. You're not saying things you shouldn't say. You're not being part of that, which just, we want it to mean something. This is the legacy year. We want it to mean something at the end. So what not to do? Not to make friends without need, not to spend your money left, right, and center, not to mean something that is not meaningful, not to get rich fast, not to fall in love at a drop of a hat, not to get real about something you're not real about, not to get into a fight, not to be somebody that you are not to pretend you're somebody that you cannot be yet, and not to make, especially friends, not to make energy where you shouldn't be making energy. And also saying goodbye and tying things pretty well, like tying things up, packaging and bundling things. And as we go into the end of the month with Saturn there, he's going to test you and try you a fair few times. It's exhausting, and after a while, you'll get it. You'll get there. Thank you very much. Enjoy, and I hope that you have a wonderful month. And all the info is in the caption section below. Bye. Thank you.